name is Guy Saperstein, and I was a civil rights lawyer in Oakland for 25 years. I built the largest private civil rights plaintiffs firm in the history of America, and we did the biggest civil rights cases in the history of America, and we represented men and women of all colors, all nationalities, all ethnicities, disabled people, older people, gay people. And that essentially is why I'm supporting Bernie. Because Bernie is fighting for the same people that I fought for 25 years.
Woo!
Bernie came to my house in 2015. I'll never forget it. And he was considering running for president. And I listened to him and I said, Bernie, I love your politics. I will definitely max out to you. But buddy, you're polling 3%. And then this is when nobody else was in the race except Hillary. And Hillary was polling like 60 or 70%. What's going on?
What's going on?
But he felt that he had to get in the race to express the values that we're all here for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank God he did.
Yeah. Yeah, guy.
He surprised so many people, myself included. But with his clarity, with his persistency, he was a great, great campaigner. And what he did in 2016, he didn't win the nomination, we all know that, but he changed what it means to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And so today, in 2020, we're talking about issues that Bernie introduced into the conversation.
You're good. You're good.
And everybody's playing off of what Bernie did in 2016.
Yeah. That's right.
Medicare for all is an issue that he's fought hard for. Now remember in 2016, our candidate said it was a pony.
Yeah.
A pony, can you believe that? Every industrialized nation in the world has a form of single-payer Medicare for all. They can afford it, even though we're far richer. We can afford, $1.5 trillion for an F-35 bomber, $7 trillion for wars in the Middle East, $2 trillion for, tax rebates for Republicans. But when it comes to health care or things that really help people, all of a sudden, they're ponies. Well, guess what? They're not ponies anymore. Medicare for all is now being discussed as a serious topic, and everybody is playing off of that. Well, I want to tell you my Medicare for all story because it's very close to me, this issue. 1 month after I became 65, I went into surgery at UCSF for prostate cancer. It's a relatively simple operation. And they took out my prostate and I was fine. But the doctor made a mistake. He punctured my bowel. He put a 3-millimeter hole in my bowel.
Oh, God.
He kept me in the hospital for one night and then sent me home for a second night, where I became very sick. I went into septic shock, and I was returned to the hospital, and they gave me substantially less than 5% to live the night. Now those are very long odds. Any of you don't want to face those kind of odds. Well, I lived through it. I spent 8 days in the ICU, 35 days in the hospital. Now, does anybody want to guess what 35 days at UCSF cost?
Oh, God.
Come on, let's hear the guess.
600,000.
6 million.
And then I needed three more surgeries on top of that, which are going to cost more. Now, if you don't have insurance, or you don't have good insurance, if you're one of the 30 million people, even after the ACA, who doesn't have insurance, and you get a $2 million bill, what do? Well, you go bankrupt.
Yeah, you go bankrupt.
And last year, 530,000 Americans went bankrupt because of medical bills. Free college tuition is another issue.
Yeah.
I grew up as a low-income kid. My parents could not afford to put me through college. But that was 1961, and I went to the University of California at Berkeley, and guess what tuition was in 1961? It was zero.
Zero.
There was no tuition. And when I went to law school 5 years later, it was $400 a year. Today, it's close to $60,000.
God.
And it's a tragedy. I mean, young people are the future of America, and to put burdens on them like this is just unconscionable.
That's right, guy. That's right, guy.
So where are we today? Where are we going to be in 2020?
Waiting for Bernie.
Many candidates now are claiming they're progressives. They're kind of playing off of Bernie's agenda, claiming they're being progressives. But Bernie is the guy that's walked the walk for more than 50 years.
Yeah. And there he is. There he is.
Let me thank Guy. Guy, where are you? Thank you very much for your introduction. And let me thank Danny Glover,
Yeah.
Dr. Cornell West,
Yeah.
and you heard it here tonight. This is a revolutionary breakthrough. We have announced a new cabinet position. People worry about education, or the EPA, Department of Defense. We got a minister or a secretary of ice cream. So it is quite a combination of human beings that we have here. And that is what makes this campaign so much fun. And that is we're bringing all kinds of people together. Cornell West and Ben Cohen, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I want to pick up on the point that Guy just made a moment ago. And that is 4 years ago in California and all over this country, we began the political revolution.
Yeah.
And what we found is that the American people from coast to coast were hungry for a discussion about the real issues that impacted their lives. Issues that were not talked about in the Congress, issues that were not talked about in the media. And when you began talking to people and you say, think big, not small, ask a two-worded question, why not?
Yeah.
Why can't we do A, B, and C? And Guy touched on some of those things. And the answer is people saying, yeah, we can. Why not? Right? And so we began 4 years ago.
by saying, how does it happen that we have in this country massive levels of income and wealth inequality? Issues that are not ever talked about on television. Never. Never talked about in the media, very rarely. Okay? Because I guess you're not allowed to talk about 3 families owning more wealth than the bottom half of the American people. Some of us think that is of some importance. Not the Congress, not the corporate media. All right? And some of us said that maybe we have to end a campaign finance system which is corrupt to its core. In which candidates go out all over the country, not in places like this, but in rich people's homes and collect all kinds of money. We have super PACs where billionaires could put undisclosed amounts of money and elect the candidates that corporate America wants. So 4 years ago we said, you know, that's not our style. We'll win this thing, we'll lose this thing based on what working families of the middle class can provide to us. And we revolutionized campaign finance in that election.
Yes, you did.
It turned out tonight and throughout this country that you don't need the wealthiest people in this country to fund your campaigns.
No, you just need the
Ordinary
people.
people are prepared to do that if you stand for
With
something.
them.
So you've just seen our light show. Very sophisticated. Even that is somebody was leaning on the light switch. All right, but we showed that. We showed that, I can't remember, over 2 million people, I think, last time around, were prepared to contribute an average of $27 a piece.
2 million people.
And that is revolutionary. Because it shows that you could run for an office like the presidency of the United States and not be dependent on a handful of wealthy people. And then 4 years ago, in the midst of massive income and wealth inequality, we said, you know what? You got millions and millions of people in this country working at starvation wages. People in my state working 2, 3 jobs, people working 60, 70 hours a week, people living paycheck to paycheck. Did you know that? Half of the country today, more than half, living paycheck to paycheck. They don't get paid next week, they're in serious trouble. They got nothing in the bank. Okay? And we raised that issue. And we said, and I want to tell you something. This is a true story. During the last campaign, what was perhaps the most moving day for me, I think it was the LA Times actually, did a story. They did research on people who contributed to my campaign. And they got on the phone and they called these people up. And these were people who were unemployed. These were lower income people. These were people on Social Security who had nothing. And they were putting $20 or $15 into the campaign. And it was hard for me to read the article because it was so touching and so moving. All right? And those are the people that we are standing for tonight. We are standing for the parents in this country who cannot find quality, affordable childcare. We are standing with the teachers in this country. Who in some cases are working 2 or 3 jobs because their salaries are so low despite the importance of the work that they are doing. We're standing with them because they often take money out of their own pockets to have to buy the school supplies that their kids need. And we are standing with the children of this country who deserve the best quality education that we can provide. And we are standing with the young people who have a dream of trying to go to college, even though, like me, they came from a family that didn't have any money. And we are going to give them that opportunity because we are going to make public colleges and universities tuition free. And we recently introduced legislation that says to Wall Street, we are going to put a transaction fee on Wall Street speculation, which coincidentally will bring in roughly the same amount of money as we need to make public colleges and university tuition free and reduce student debt.
Yes.
Substantially.
Yes.
And 4 years ago, we said that climate change is not a hoax, but it is the greatest threat that the planet faces. And we introduced ideas that would transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. I want to say a word on that. And I know that marijuana is legal now in California, right?
You got it.
Well, we worked on that issue as well, by the way. But
Yeah, we did.
I didn't smoke any tonight. I don't. I want to tell you. I want to tell you, not being high. What I would love to see happen. And these are the stakes we are playing for. We got a president right now who, and I won't waste any time on Donald Trump. We don't want to hear anything about that.
Who needs that?
But among other things, he is not only not recognizing the reality of climate change, every single day he is bringing forth policies which make a dangerous situation even more dangerous. But I want to propose, I talk about thinking big and not small. So let's think really big. And when we think really big, here's really big. Really big is that right now, roughly speaking, the United States and other countries around the world are spending, I think, about $1.5 trillion in weapons of destruction to kill each other. A brilliant use of resources, right? You got children all over the world who are starving, who can't drink clean water, who are dying from very preventable illnesses, and we're spending well over $1 trillion on weapons of destruction. Now here is a bold idea that as president I will pursue. Whether it succeeds or not, I cannot tell you. But I think if there is any silver lining in the horrific fears that we have about climate change, is that climate change is not an American issue. It's not a Chinese issue, it's not an Indian issue, it's not a Russian, it's not Latin America, it's not Africa. It is every country on earth.
It's us.
So maybe, here is the big idea, without having smoked marijuana. And the big idea is that maybe with bold American leadership, we can tell the countries of the world that instead of spending money on nuclear weapons and fighter planes and tanks, maybe we should combine our resources and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel, energy efficiency, and sustainable energy. Now, can you imagine imagine a world where leaders around the world following American leadership begin to understand that maybe it's more important to save the planet for our kids and our grandchildren than it is to go around killing each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
Will that work? I don't know. But it damn well is worth the effort.
Yeah.
Now, the last point that I want to make is that we have a president today who is doing something. We have a president today who is doing something that I have never seen in my lifetime, and that is even conservative presidents with whom we would disagree on every issue. They kind of have the understanding that when you are president of the United States, you are president of all of the people.
Yeah.
That you do not use your bully pulpit to try to divide the American people up based on the color of their skin,
That's
or
right.
where they were born, or their sexual orientation, or even their religion or their gender.
That's right.
That's not what a sane president does. And our campaign is not hard to understand in terms of what we're trying to do. We're trying to do exactly the opposite of what Trump does. He is trying to divide us up. We're trying to bring the people together.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you why I ended up running for president. Jane and I literally spent months thinking about this thing, and we have never, other than maybe some personal things in our family, have spent more time on anything than thinking about whether or not I should run. And on Monday we'd say yes, then on Tuesday we'd say no, and on Wednesday we'd say, because all of you know what it's like running for president.
Oh yeah, we all.
Most of you don't know, you haven't been there, but you know what it's like. And we know what happens.
We can
know
imagine.
about the media, what that would be like. Literally, just so you know. I think it was the day after I announced that I was going to run, the Wall Street Journal ran a big editorial. They weren't attacking me, they were attacking Jane.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, that's what it is. We knew.
Boo!
Not a surprise.
New York Times.
Last time around, I think before the New York primary, the Washington Post did, I think, 16 columns in a couple of days attacking me. I think they're going to do more this time
This
around.
time
to cover the show.
more.
All right. You got the New York Times, you got all of it. All right. But, okay. All right, but, we thought, and we knew, we're not dumb, we were through it, we knew what to expect. But we came to the conclusion that I should run for two reasons, and these are sincere reasons. Number one, given the fact that we have the most dangerous president in probably the history of this country, we concluded, and I believe to be true, that at the end of the day, I am the strongest candidate
Yes.
to defeat Donald Trump.
Yes. Yes. Woo! That's right, Bernie. 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 Bernie.
And I say that, let me put that in context. No, I don't know that that's true. And let me put it in context. You got some good candidates out. All right. I think that I'm the strongest for a couple of reasons. And I do believe that there are other candidates, there are good candidates out there, but I think we can do it better. And let me tell you why. Two reasons. Number one, in order to defeat Trump, you're going to need an incredible amount of excitement at the grassroots level. And here is the good news. The good news is that the younger generation in America today is the most progressive generation, younger
That's
generation in the
right.
history of this country. The problem is they don't vote at very high levels. Now we're making progress. In
making
2018, younger people voted at the highest level in 70 years. But if we are going to win this election, we need to register and involve young people in the political process in a way this country has never seen. And being a 37-year-old person myself, I couldn't do that. No. So I think that's issue number one. We need a group of young people, a nation of young people who are prepared to get involved. And I think our campaign has the ideas that will resonate with that generation. Okay, that's number one. Number two.
Say Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Number two. What polls show is that we are beating Trump in a number of the battleground states. Okay, and I think that given the record that I have in opposition to disastrous trade agreements, in voting against the war in Iraq, in voting against the Wall Street bailout, and voting against the deregulation of Wall Street, which led to the collapse. I think that those ideas will appeal to a lot of working class people who really felt that they had no choice in voting for Trump. So I think that those are the two reasons. I think we can grow the voter turnout. I think we can get some of Trump's supporters. You add that up, we win Pennsylvania, we win Michigan, we win Wisconsin, we win Nova States, and we win the White House.